What you're going to notice about this strategy is that it requires that you pay deep attention to the other person. Naturally, you're usually self-absorbed, usually because maybe you were born good looking for the lucky ones. Usually maybe because you were given everything, and so because of that, you never felt the need to actually charm people. You never felt the need to actually use strategy. You never felt the need to actually use your head and win over their hearts and mind rather than just like expect people to bow down to you. That's just called being entitled. And eventually you're gonna get older and reap the benefit and reap what you sowed. And this also happens in relationships where you're dating someone, and because they're so there for you, you also become entitled to the long-term partners that we're with. And your partners, even yourself, you resent the fact that this person stops trying. This person stops paying attention. This person stops trying to impress you. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know? So you guys might be watching this and say, oh, this is evil. But listen to me. The natural progression of almost any relationship is complacency, where both partners get comfortable. They assume they know you, you assume you know them, and you stop paying attention. And that mentality is the death of that relationship. Eventually, over the weeks and months and years, that relationship will deteriorate because of the lack of movement. The lack of movement between both people. They stop trying. And in order to fix this, it requires an understanding of their nature, paying attention, and some strategies. You could call it manipulation if you want. You could call it that. But any smart person who has kept a long-term relationships have applied these strategies. I don't care who you are. You could be Christ himself. Even Jesus, one time when he went to the temple of God, what did he do when he saw people gambling? He was pissed off. He needed to show them that, yeah, I'm Christ the Lamb, but I could be Christ the Wolf too. Rawr, motherfucker, right? I could be Christ the Lion as well, not just a lamb. And so God understood that part of human nature because he created you. And that's self-absorption. You're going to notice that people just won't react to you the same way they used to. And that's because you never used what you have over here. You never used strategy. And because strategy requires you to stop thinking of yourself and to step into another person's point of view and to think how they think and mirror their values and understand their strengths and weaknesses. This type of paying attention in and of itself, not even with applying strategies, this type of deep attention loosens people's defenses and it makes them more open to your suggestions. It makes them more open to give you stuff, to be seduced by you. Even when they know you're playing games, they love the attention that you're given to the point that they don't care what your intentions are. So this strategy comes down to two things: confusing and disorienting. You know, a lot of people believe that this is a game of manipulation, and it sort of is, right? But what people don't understand is that people want to be guided. People want to have this type of deep and intense experience. There's too many people who don't pay attention. Too many people who want the people to bow down to them without really understanding their psychology, really understanding their point of view. So you do this by taking the line of least expectations. Why confuse? Well, because it splits them up inside. Right? It allows them to release their irrational self. There's a certain pleasure that we all feel when we're feeling confused and we're acting out of our confusion, right? It feels pleasurable to not know what they want and to pursue it. There's dopamine in that because the aggressive action that people take when you confuse them requires dopamine for them to actually move. Because like as I said, dopamine is not just about feeling good. Dopamine is literally about taking action and moving. Like dopamine controls your movement. So this is what gets them inside. And so you split them up inside. They second guess everything that they do because that's what confusion does, right? And they'll seek you for stability in your reactions and in your pattern. And what does this do them? What does this do to them? Well, it numbs them, not numbs them. It allows them to forget about their problems, right? It gives them some purpose. It gives them something to do, something to think about, something to be obsessed about when they live in a world where they have to put up the adult exterior, where they have to act civil, where they have to put on a straight act, when in reality, they're beaming with irrationality, or they're beaming with intense emotion that they want to release, and you're giving them that opportunity. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. All right, guys, we're going to have a brief intermission so that I can tell you guys about our new bundle that we're doing, where you guys can purchase all of my courses and get it at a discount. So this bundle is pretty much the bundle where you could just buy all of my courses. You could buy Nice Guy, which is a training course on how to come across more assertive, how to come across more confident, how to not give off nice guy vibes. You guys can get access to Dark Game, which is my folk dating course on how to meet women in different scenarios, how to attract women, how to make sure you don't come across as creepy, and essentially how to act like a man and not act like a doofus, to be quite honest with you. And you get all of these bonuses, which is the bonuses of Dark Game, the bonuses of Practical Mastery, which is about how to master a skill, Social Mastery, which is how to master your social life, and the Laws of Human Nature, which is a book club videos that I had dissecting Robert Greene's book. All of this is naturally at around naturally is at $346, but you guys can purchase this bundle and get it at what's the price again? Get it at $238 pretty much. So you guys can purchase it right now. It's a money back 30-day money back guarantee. It's a good way to, rather than just buying them individually and paying extra, you guys can just purchase everything at a discount price. Now, the only thing I don't like is the fact that I'm giving you a lot of information at the same time. That makes me kind of scared, because a lot of times people don't do the things that I teach when you get too much information. But I've gotten too many requests to do this, so I'm just satisfying you guys. Purchase it right now by clicking on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle. All right, let's continue with the video. So there are two moves we're going to be doing: the superficial move and the underlying motivation, right? In war, those are the only two moves that you really enact. And the way to do that is through using smoke screens, right? Smoke screens are pretty much what the whole world is made out of smoke screen. Look around you, everywhere you look, there are smoke screens underneath everything that you're doing. Right, and there are two types of smoke screens that are the most powerful to human nature. The first one is the verbal smoke screens, words, which is used to disorient and confuse and to mislead, right? And again, this seduction is something that even the people that you're with, even your boyfriend, your girlfriend, it doesn't matter who you're with, this is what people want. I am telling you. Students, for example, in the psychology of teachers, students want a teacher who is strict but also nice, right? Who has a contradictory appearance, where from her ordinary look as a teacher comes extraordinary. In other words, her ordinary simple appearance, but behind that there is a strictness, there is order. You might look like a very happy person, but behind that you have a harshness to you. That happy exterior allows you to express the harshness within you. And so the smoke screen is pretty much preparing people for the extraordinary, for the darkness, right? And even you use the smoke screen of negativity to prepare them for the positivity. In other words, when things, if you're seeing someone and you don't know whether or not you're being too needy, for example, before you get, this is just an example, and I am going out of the video. If you're going to give them a gift, before you give them a gift that might look too needy, you first act cold a few days prior, right? Now they're doubting themselves. Now they're asking what's going on. This is a change of pattern. And then you give them the gift. And now that balances everything, right? Without, if you're afraid, as for example, if you're trying to look neat, if you're afraid of looking needy, right? So you hide but you hide the extraordinary behind the banal. You hide the needy behind behind complete independence. You hide your niceness behind a facade of hardness, where you make people break through the hardness to get to the need, to get to the emotional, to the openness, and that is a reward for people. People find pleasure in that. So let's talk about the two smoke screens. One is verbal. In seduction, never tell people what you really want. Tell them something complete opposite so that their guards are down. Right? For example, if you really want money and support from an organization, you don't go to them and ask them for money. No, you promote their cause as a way to promote your cause, as an example, right? You never fully ask people for what you want. That's too direct. So that they can surrender to you, you must be able to scramble your signals. Appear interested in somebody else, for example, a decoy, and they have interest in the target, and then feign this interest, right? Another example is, like I always tell people, I have people who are too needy, clients who are way too goddamn needy, right? And I tell them, I know you want to give them a gift, but before you give them a gift, you have developed a reputation of being needy. So you can't be giving them a gift. What the hell's going on? So if you're being hard-headed and you really want to give them a gift, just create some doubt in their minds. They have already an image of you, of being needy, and it's a little cycle, right? So you scramble that by giving them a completely different pattern, so that then you could present to them that gift. And in the moment of confusion, in the moment of doubt, then you could give them that gift. And that's an example, right? And then once you give them the gift, then maybe you pull away a little bit, right? And this is the exciting part, the excitement. This type of excitement people crave in life. Life is too banal. Life is too much routine, and we have to, in life, suppress our impulses. You're giving them the opportunity to actually express their impulses without any legal or like true consequences that makes any sense. And you're going to become that vessel where they're able to experience emotions that they just don't feel in daily life because of the constraints that we have, right? Another smokescreen, the next power. So remember, you just conceal your intentions. If you want a relationship, you tell people you don't know what you want, right? And it's crazy because the girl did that to me, right? Well, yeah, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But where she told me that she just wanted to be friends, right? And I'm like, okay, sure, right? And we were actually real friends. And then one time she gave me a gift for my birthday that was so well thought out. Like, honestly, it was really well thought out, that I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, what does this mean? And then the next few days, she was way too busy in school, so she couldn't hang out, but she gave me the gift. So for the next few days, there was complete distance. But then she gave me something that was so close, right? And that did confuse me. I'm not even gonna lie. It made me think of her more differently, and it made me kind of like her. I didn't eventually, we didn't go out. I didn't like get to that point, but it kind of like, for a moment, I felt like I was like nudged out of my balance. I was like, whoa, that was unexpected. You know what I'm saying? And because it requires so much thinking, it just made me say, okay, what does this mean? Now I'm in a state of confusion. Now I want to see you to see how I can put this into context so that I can interact with you, so I can make sense of this. And now they're thinking deeply, right? Another smokescreen is our gestures that confuse. You've told them you want friendship, but your gifts say more than that, you know? Now, why does this work? Well, always remember, people trust appearances, right? This is why politicians are so powerful, because people trust appearances. It's difficult to look beneath the surface of everything for plenty of reasons. So when people trust appearances, And then one moment you show desire, and then the other moment you show indifference. It confuses them. It's like the story of the sauna guy, right? Like, people are like, oh my god, that sounds gay, right? Now, where this sauna guy was really friendly to me, and the sauna, I never talked to him. I'm like, this dude's talking to me in the sauna. This is weird as shit, but I give people chances, and we had a fun conversation. And then the next day at the YMCA, I saw him in the hallway, and this guy just literally didn't even say hi to me. I'm like, he didn't even look at me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this guy was friendly to me in the sauna, and now we're outside in normal temperature. Now you don't even want to say hi? Well, like, what the fuck is going on? You know? What was it, like a one night sauna? Like, what the fuck? And it did confuse me. I'm not even gay. And I'm like, dude, I thought you were friendly. So it kind of like, you literally broke what I thought of you, right? Now, so remember, this principle works because of appearances. They create an image of you. Now, why does this work? Well, for a few reasons, evolutionary reasons. From an evolutionary standpoint, our ancestors had to make rapid judgments about others to survive. Deciding quickly whether someone was friend or foe could mean the difference between life and death. So physical appearances served as one of the few immediate cues available for making these swift assessments. Also, so it's like, that's why politicians know that if a population is a certain race, it's better to have a politician that reflects their race. And also, not just from an evolutionary perspective, in terms of appearances, but also voice, your accents matter more. So, and the reason why accents are so powerful is because of this, right? Studies have shown that if you put like a white guy in China, for example, and he's an American, and then there's another white guy in China, but that white guy speaks Chinese and has a Chinese accent. But then there's also another Chinese guy who's American with an American accent. Who do you think the American is actually going to relate to more? The American that's Chinese with the accent, or the Chinese American with the American accent? Studies show that people will literally choose the person who has a similar accent over the person that looks similar to them. And the reason why that is because humans, we were raised in places where everyone looked the same. If you were here and then there was another tribe 100 miles away, most likely that tribe has a similar phenotype to you, right? You're not going to find freaking like a tribe of Tyrones in the middle of freaking Sweden, 50 miles north of the village of Whiteville. No, right? But what you will find is that the next village might have a completely different accent. They might look the same, but they might have a completely different accent. And so because of that, they trust the accents to know whether or not if you're culturally part of our tribe, and even your age, right? Even ages have a different accent, different dialect. So how you communicate tells you more about whether or not I should trust you than how you look. But that's why it's good to, like, when you listen to people, find the words that they say often and use it around them. Because one of the things that will happen, one of the things when you fall in love that's really charming, is that you tend to unconsciously adapt the way that the other person speaks. You can eventually develop their accents and unconsciously mimic the words that they say. What you want to be able to do is consciously pick up on the words that they use. Certain phrases, like well, that's lit. Like there's certain phrases, and find the ones that are more comfortable to you, and find ways to bring it in and to say it to them while you're having a conversation, right? These are things that humans are wired to develop a sort of superficial rapport that could potentially lead to a deeper rapport. It's almost like you're opening a portal to creating that rapport through just verbal communication. It's even better if you can learn their accent, but that's actually what Hillary Clinton used to do. That actually, there's videos of Hillary Clinton going in the South and speaking in one accent, and then going up in the North and speaking in one accent. Now you can't do that no more. But even politicians, as savvy as she is, she knew that she had to do that, and it actually worked. Bill Clinton also did that. Plenty of politicians worked on different accents, and it actually worked in gaining people's following, because humans understand that what matters more is your culture. And your skin color doesn't say about your culture, but what does say about your culture is your colloquial and your accents and the phrases that you use. So people typically do this because, you know, that whatever is seen familiar or typical were most likely deemed trustworthy because they indicated an in-group membership and therefore a lower level of threat. Now, the next factor is psychological. Okay. Psychologically, humans have a cognitive bias that is known as the halo effect, where our overall impression of a person influences how we feel and think about their character. So if they have a certain, for example, it's like the prophecy, the white person prophecy. When you go to Indian tribes, you know, the Christopher Columbus, when he went to their tribe, and because he was white as fuck, they saw him. They're like, oh my God, he reflects the prophecy, so he must be a good guy, right? And because he looked like the prophecy, he was attributed all of the positive traits with that God. And then he used that power and corrupted it and destroyed them, right? But the halo effect, good looking people are deemed more trustworthy, right? If somebody passes gas and there's an ugly guy and a hot girl, people are going to think it was the ugly guy, right? It's the halo effect. And so you create the halo effect. And this halo effect does pretty much like, it's almost like short circuits people. Now, the next one is cognitive ease. That's the next reason why this strategy is so powerful. Trusting appearances also relates to cognitive ease, where our brains prefer to take the path of least resistance. It's easier and requires less cognitive effort to rely on visible cues than to seek out more substantive but less immediate available information about someone's character or intentions. This preference for cognitive ease means that we often default to superficial judgment. And this is what people depend on. What people who are seducing you, they depend on you trusting appearances. Where if somebody looks like they're turned off by you, they're gonna think you're always gonna be turned off by them. Like a dog who thinks that if you leave, you're never coming back. But then another few days later, you show warmth, and all of a sudden, they go from this to this, and this is extremely pleasurable. I'm like there is some pain behind it, but it is pleasurable. That's just how that works, right? And we have to be careful with too much confidence in our judgment. That's another reason why this works. People are confident in their ability to read people based on appearances, and studies show that they're no more better than just flipping a coin. People are not good at judging character, simply because we don't have the patience for it. This overconfidence in our judgment based on appearances can lead to misplaced trust, as appearances are not reliable indicators of sincerity and trustworthiness. This is what actual manipulators use to twist things around, right? Now, humans, though, the problem with this strategy is that some people might take it too far. That's the issue, right? The thing is that humans like this for several reasons. Why? One, the psychological thrill and the reward system. The transition from uncertainty or negativity, I think I'm going to lose them, to positivity and acceptance, oh my God, they like me now, triggers a significant emotional and psychological response in human beings. This shift activates the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, neurotransmitter related to pleasure and satisfaction. The roller coaster experience of emotion creates a powerful and memorable association with the person, causing these fluctuations. And this causes them to be imprinted in your mind. And these types of experiences, people really think back when they're older with some form of nostalgic pleasure, even the bad ones. I'm telling you, man, like these are things that people just will remember for the rest of their lives. This dynamic is akin to the mechanism at play in gambling or playing video games, where the anticipation of rewards keeps individuals engaged in seeking more. And that's how you put them around your finger, right? The reward, the desire to see the good side will keep them wrapped in your finger. The desire to not see your bad side will keep them at a bay, where that bay creates respect, where they are close to you, but because they respect you, they don't want to do anything to lose what they worked so hard to gain. And another reason why this strategy is so powerful is because of the contrast effect, right? The contrast between feeling uncertain or negative and then suddenly experiencing pleasure or affirmation makes the positive feelings more intense. It's almost like colors, right? When you place blue and black, blue and red together, they both intensify each other. When you put a white person next to me, I look blacker and the white person looks whiter, right? When you put an ugly person next to a really hot person, through contrast, you could kind of tell how, like, how good looking the person is. For example, it's almost like watching a basketball player and you watch them amongst other pros and they don't look too tall, but put them around normal people and all of a sudden that short basketball player looks tall. Right? The contrast between feeling uncertain and negative and then suddenly experiencing pleasure, this is due to the contrast effect, where the human brain evaluates stimuli by comparison to what has just experienced. A sudden shift from negative to positive emotions amplifies the perception of those positive feelings, making the experience with the seducer more intense and memorable. These are memorable experience, people. You don't have to go full Hitler mode with this strategy and like go evil on them. No, right? Because it does backfire. If you do this too much, there's going to be an emotional distance that you can never repair. You see, being human is to feel, right? These are memorable things that we look back in life and find pleasure in them in a nostalgic way. Humans want memory, something to complain about, something to brag about. Give them that. Because if you don't do that, they're gonna follow cults. If you don't do that, they're gonna follow people who are really there to destroy them, really there to use them, really there for evil and intensive purposes. Some people just don't have a sense of purpose. That's a problem. So they rely on these relationships to feel alive, to feel like they belong, to feel loved. And you call this a false purpose. Purpose that doesn't provide any value to humanity, but that is more hedonistic. It is more about the hedonistic thrill, for the thrill of it. It has all to do with satisfying your desire for pleasure and avoidance for pain. And you got to realize that this energy is aggressive. Humans, if you don't control this energy, it'll have a downward spiral of hedonism and pain. Where this energy is gonna go in one direction and it's gonna destroy everything in its path. To be human is to be aggressive. Life is aggressive. Life has a push energy towards up. Death has no movement, has no aggressive energy. And if like we said before, so this aggressive energy is almost like Cyclops' eye, right? It's always going in one direction if you open it. And the beauty about this is that it's always going in one direction, but you could actually redirect it. If you are not careful, what would happen is that naturally this energy has a tendency to just turn towards you and literally start to attack you from within. And this attack is experienced in hedonism. Now, the other expression is when you turn it in the other direction, stop thinking of yourself, and you put it out there like a kamehameha. And that will turn into compassion, where this aggressive energy will want to help people because it finds pleasure in helping people. It finds pleasure in seeing people be happy. Because this is the thing, is that if you actually meditate, one of the signs that you're doing meditation right is that you actually want to help people. There's a literal compulsion to help people without wanting anything in return. That's one of the signs that your meditation is working exactly how it should work. So if you're practicing meditation and all you're experiencing is happiness, there's nothing wrong with that. But the true mark that meditation is deeply changing your neurochemistry is that your desire to help people, your desire to give, your desire to see people be happy intensifies. That is the one marker that matters most. Because if you don't have that desire, the message of meditation will never spread. That's the one sign that is. So when you express this energy outward, what you will notice is that there's no end to the pleasure that you receive from helping people. when you turn this energy inward, what you will notice is that there is a limit to the amount of pleasure that you experience. And once you hit that limit, you will start to experience almost like you're going to start to experience frustration, the frustration of not being able to feel the high you once felt from the same pleasures. And what will happen then is that you're going to start to suffer because of your attachment to your pleasure and your aversion to the pain that you experience, and you're going to look for more intense pleasure. And this downward spiral of hedonism pretty much ends in psychological and emotional and physical death. The other side, where you turn your energy outward, has no limits. It's infinite, because there's an infinite amount of people you could help and an infinite amount of people that you could provide loving kindness to them. And how do you develop that? Well, you develop that through meditation, specifically loving kindness meditation, right? Where you sit down, you could watch a video of mine where I do talk about loving kindness meditation. But one of the things that happens when you develop this is that you're gonna feel a certain love and compassion towards people, and this feeling is gonna compel you to help. What you have done is that you have completely rewired how you find pleasure, where you find pleasure in helping, where you find pleasure in providing and giving people rather than taking from them. And this will completely change psychologically and in your nonverbal cues how you interact with people, where they're going to sense that there's something emanating from you that they can't explain. And this is usually your spirit energy, that you cultivate through a meditation process, and that gravitates people towards you, and they're going to start to give you without expecting anything in return, because that energy, just like life likes to replicate, so unhappy people will create unhappy people, this type of energy will create more altruistic people. And also, by practicing this type of meditation, studies show that it literally changes your nonverbal cues to become more pro-social. In other words, where you're going to unconsciously change how you talk to people to a point that's going to elicit a positive reaction, and you're not going to know why people are so positive towards you. And through this strategy, you can learn to have people in your fingers without having to resort to the smoke screens. But in order to do this positively, you have to have psychological defenses and not let your altruism become a one way of doing things. In other words, where you're just giving and you unconsciously start to give to get people to give you back, where you unconsciously start to be nice so that other people can be nice. And this is where a lot of people will do what I'm telling them, and ruin it over time, because they're going to revert back to their old patterns of neediness and pushing people away with your neediness. So the way to do this is to develop proper psychological defenses, right? And these psychological defenses pretty much come down to you observing people and observing that if they're acting inconsistent, you don't give them your kindness, you give them your harshness. And you learn to be kind and you learn to be harsh as a tool. But underneath all of that, there's compassion and love. But you don't show that to everyone. You only show that to people who are consistent, to people who are not manipulative, to people who are not trying to take advantage of you. Your niceness is a gift that you give to people. And it's a tool that you use to keep people faithful to you, to keep people from disrespecting you, and also to give them the validation that they need, because in order to apply this, you need to, like I said, pay attention. These strategies might seem evil, and I get it, but these strategies work. I did not make people. I am not the creator of people. I'm explaining to you what works. Any smart politician, any smart person in the social realm have applied this. You don't have to go full Hitler mode on people to apply these strategy and be evil. You could do this in moderation. All right? Okay. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This video was a different style. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was a very different style. It was more freeform. It was very different. I'm curious to see how this video performs, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.